Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Ian here in Beijing. So I thought I would give you an update on where we are with the lockdown situation in Beijing, because you probably saw something on the news. The start of this story is from last week, where I was out on a street photography walk with Francois. And we made a great video about that, which we'll leave a link for at the end of this video or up there. So at the start of that day out, you can see that I was very, very happy because Beijing was fully opened up, which was fantastic. But by the end of the video, I had got a call that I needed to get a COVID test for that day because there was a further outbreak and my apartment block wanted me to get a test immediately. So you can see actually at the end of that video the test queue that I went to get that test, the NAT test. So again, I will link that video at the end of this video. You can see that day out, which was fantastic. You may have heard in the Western media that there has been an explosive COVID outbreak event in Beijing. I'm not sure where that terminology comes from. It might actually have came from the authorities here. But it does remind me when people call in sick from work and use that word to describe their stomach situation. So it's a bit of a jarring comment. Anyway, the story for this outbreak is that a guy from the outskirts of Beijing took a bus, or 3 buses I think, into town and then went to a restaurant, a number of bars, and ended up in a nightclub. And the guy didn't know he was positive, but it turns out he is, and this has caused a big concern because he was so active and transferring through the communities. I also think some people were actually quite surprised that the guy had managed to do so much partying in that one night. But remember, things were opened back up after that short period of time, about a month of closure. So I can understand why he was out on the town. And again, we were all young and we used to go out and party, so, you know, I can get it. He did have a bit of a night out, to be honest. Anyway, since then, the weekend was quiet. The only thing we did have was kind of busy storm weekend, because the storms were incredible. I've never seen storms like this. And I'm from Scotland, to be fair, and Scotland is quite stormy, but I have never seen storms like I've seen over the weekend. And you can check the video for that out somewhere. Another thing is I also managed to get out and see Jurassic Park at the local IMAX, which was okay, which is actually okay. It was a wee birthday trip out for me. But it does show that some things are still open and the IMAX was still open. Anyway, since then, a few communities have had some lockdown restrictions put back in place as the authorities try and trace who has been in contact along this guy's route through the city. So I understand that, and I hope we get back on top of this current outbreak and we get opened up again. Fingers crossed and all of that. I also hope we can find a way out of this in the long term, possibly with vaccinations or whatever. Anyway, locally, my community is back in working from home, which means we can move around, but we are technically working from home. There are some shopping malls and bars that are now closed because they're close to the route the guy took on his crazy party night out. And they're being cleaned and people are being tested. Me personally, like everyone in the city, I have to be tested each day for the next 3 days in a row. And then after that, we will get further guidelines. And hopefully from that, we can get back up or open back up again. On a personal note, I am missing the family back home in Scotland. And I'm getting desperate to get a trip back, but it's not easy because of the situation. The good news is that I was able to celebrate my birthday at a local restaurant, because the local restaurant here close by was actually open. Unlike Boris Johnson and his useless cronies, I was not breaking the law, so if the biased Metropolitan Police in London did investigate me, then they would not be able to issue me with a fine. Again, unlike our friend Boris Johnson, who was issued with a fine for breaking the law.
Is that absolutely nothing and no one...
Just us in the restaurant.
Moving on, the food on my birthday night out was excellent. This is my fish, and I love this fish. And we were able to sit outside where the view was fantastic. It's quite local, so you can see that in the video.
你好，谢谢。请问一下，我可以那个，我看那个大众点评上有那个荔枝什么的，我可以买一颗吗？我可以，没问题。I
had a couple of beers and then I enjoyed my cake, and I got a nice gift from Lisa. So it's evening and I'm having some dinner with Lisa, who's just paid the bill. Lisa, say hello.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ian. Happy birthday to you. Okay, make a wish. Then blow the candle. Happy birthday!
All in all, it was a great birthday, great weekend, difficult situations. And again, I did not break the law while partying. So there was no partygate scandal here in the Ian in Beijing household, because I followed the rules. And as always then, all the best, look after each other, and peace out.